So a question has been battering around the channel for a long time. One that's been answered a long time ago, and one that's newly fresh because of a certain console announcement that came out. Of course, people have been asking me what my thoughts are, what my views are on the new Nintendo Switch. Now, to start any video off about it, I'll just say I've waited a little bit since the announcement to, kind of display any of my thoughts. There have been some on Twitter, there have been some other places, but to be honest, I wanted to see after the fallout of it before I really bring to the table anything, because we pretty much knew that on release day they had probably some scant information themselves, things they don't want to reveal. For example, we don't know exactly 100% the actual technical specs of the console yet, which is crazy, even like a couple of weeks after, because let's face it, launch isn't that long away. It is 5 weeks, 6 weeks. It's not long, and I'm desperately trying to get a holiday for it. Trying to get my pre-order to make sure I know it's actually coming on release day for me, because, well, I'm hyped for it. So, in that respect, if you're expecting an unbiased kind of recounting on what I think about the Switch, you're going to get it anyway. Because even though, for example, I will say straight here and now, I'd be buying the console regardless. YouTube is what I do after all, so of course I'm going to be into the console, of course I'm going to want it, of course I'm going to want to buy it. I would have bought it anyway if I wasn't a YouTuber, just because I like Nintendo and they've created so many great game experience for me, and there are a few killer bits of software on there to do it. One of the one of the tweets I sent out, and of course on the first day of it being released, if you know what I mean, the announcement into the world, there was only 5 launch titles. 5. There's now actually 7, so 2 more have been added, and they are kind of arcade games experiences, The Binding of Isaac being one of them. I Am Setsuna is a recent RPG game that was released, being another one of them. So they are 2 new games that have been announced. They're not exactly new because you can play them now, but they're there. Some more stuff for people to play on launch, plus whatever is on the eShop. Because this is the thing, of course, eShop was only just recently said that it's definitely going to be live for the release, so that's why I wait with these things. 2 more release games, so now we're up to 7. But I know the main lack here is first-party titles, but it's about killer software, really. And Bomberman could be a fun party, like, multiplayer game for people who are probably, in my friendship circle would be older gamers, so they would know, Bomberman, original Bomberman quite a bit. 1-2 Switch is your obvious party game. And then you've got the one killer app is all you really need to sell. And like how Pokemon shifts 3DSs, if you know what I mean. You kind of need one killer app. And Zelda Breath of the Wild is that app. So I would have bought it anyway just to play that game, knowing in the future, because at least they've announced certain games are coming out. Now, while I'm not so interested in something like Super Mario, I am very interested in Splatoon 2. So Splatoon 2 coming out is amazing. Of course, it's not a release. If that were a release as well, I mean, I'd be picking up that. And, Zelda, I'd be quite happy. Let's put it that way. Just if it was just those 2 games, I'd be like, I'll take both. It's your entire game offering, I will take both. So you just need that Nintendo first-party software. Of course, we're only getting Breath of the Wild, but, things are coming, and it's not that far off. And Zelda the Breath of the Wild will keep me going, if you know what I mean, until Splatoon 2 hits. And then Splatoon being a multiplayer shooter, and therefore having endless replayability, will keep me interested further onwards from that. So, those are one of my main reasons for buying it. The price point is fine. What do you really expect with the technology that goes into it? A portable console as well, that can play up, high definition gaming wherever you want to go. The battery life might be a little bit poor for certain games, sure, but when you think of the power that's running those games, maybe, it makes a bit more sense. And anyone who's played Pokemon Go knows the necessity of having battery packs in your everyday life to do your technology if you want to game on the go. So in that respect, I'm completely fine and open to carrying a battery pack with me if I want to game on the go. That said, I'm not sure how many times I'm going to go out for 3 hours to play a game when I can sit inside. I mean, I might use it, for example, in the bed, and then I'm not going to be playing 3 hours and I'll have access to more power. So in that respects, it doesn't faze me at all. If you're going to be out and about and playing it for 3 hours plus, I mean, battery packs are there for a reason. You just need a good one to be able to actually charge it up rather than not have just a slower battery drain. The Joy-Cons, 20 hours of battery, that's fine, 3 hours charging. Pro controller, obviously I'm going to have to get one of these. The one question I do have regarding the Pros and the Joy-Cons and all that is, will there be one that is definitively better for playing games? So, for example, Splatoon, or no, even better example, the Wii version of Mario Kart 7, wasn't it? When you had the bikes just come in, etc, etc. The GameCube for playing online, the GameCube controller was far superior to any other control scheme using the Wii native controllers, the driving wheel or just the stick alone. Just the being able to press a button and wheelie was far superior to having to go like that to wheelie and get some extra speed on those straight lines. So is there any like control schemes that's just going to be superior? Will it be better to have a Pro controller for Splatoon than it will be to hold the console and maybe use the tilt axis? Does it have that? I'm pretty sure it probably will, but which control scheme will end up better? Because to be honest, when you've got that, do you need auto aim anymore? It's probably quite accurate when you get used to it, being able to tilt screen on Splatoon. It pretty much is. Bit unwieldy when you first get into it, but once you get good, or once you start to really play for a while, game's good. The control scheme's good, and that's all that really matters, isn't it? So that's one of the things I wonder. Games, for example, the hard drive size being only 32GB, fine with that. I mean, it's not too hard to get an SD card that's bigger, and depending on the Nintendo file type, does it format the SD card into a Nintendo related format that only can be read on Nintendo things, or can you, for example, move the data onto a PC? These are questions I have. Glad that it's got HDMI port to go in, glad it's got more than like one USB port as well, supporting your normal capture cards and etc. That was one of the main announcements for me, is like just having an HDMI port and being able to capture things. Plus Nintendo's shifting philosophy, because they're going to have like essentially what is a share button that can first of all take screenshots of your games and share it to social media, etc. But then we'll be able to take video and share it to social media, etc. Will they have an auto monetization thing on anything that's captured on there which they then put on like YouTube or social media? Or are they changing their ethos as a company to one that supports more video makers of content as an advertisement to sell their stuff? These are the things I was picking up during the presentation rather than the console itself. It was the little things like that. They're still staying their usual innovator of a company. They're still trying to put as many little things into a little device like a Joy-Con that they can, upping the price, which makes you hope that they're actually going to use the devices in it for their game development, so you actually get your money's worth for the things that you may or may not use. But that's what Nintendo are. Nintendo push things forward, Nintendo do that kind of thing. Xbox and PlayStation, they kind of amalgamate from other places and put it into their just basically powerful console PC things. They're not really the same breed. There's two different ones. And Nintendo push, and we got to get used to that. When you push things, you fail. Wii U, for example. Hey, I liked quite a few games on it, but it is a failure compared to the Wii, which then appealed to the casuals, etc., etc. It's so much game just selling. It's that kind of industry, which I'm not really a part of. I don't understand it. I wouldn't dare to say I understand it. But I can't see the Switch failing as long as they go the one route, which of course is to release a Pokemon game, to have the Switch be the successor of the 3DS pretty much, to kill the 3DS, line, and just make your handheld niche meet with your console, combine the audiences, have all the games developed for one platform and not split among two. And I can't see how you can lose. I can't see how you can fail. Especially with more titles than, being on one system. Especially Nintendo, with the pedigree that they have to create games. It's just all wait and see. Essentially those are my thoughts. Those are my well, wonderings, musings about the Nintendo Switch, and I'm just really hoping it succeeds, really, because we've had one duff console cycle from them, and they know it, and they need to change, which is why we're getting stuff like paid online, which I know people do not like, because paying for anything they feel that they shouldn't have to do, and it's against Nintendo's ethos, but Nintendo has to evolve at times, business has to evolve, and by getting paid features, you can essentially provide more, which is hopefully, what they're trying to do. Please say that they're trying to do that. Please. But yeah, I understand it, I understand their changes, what they're going for. I hope they're going down a certain road, and I know there's a lot of people with 3DSs out there who would probably prefer not to have their 3DS lives, you know, the console line die, but it just makes more sense from a business perspective for them to combine everything. At this point, combine audiences, combine games onto a thing. Crank out games is one of the major problems that the Wii U even had. Get that third-party support in, have everything there ready to go, and if you make it the preferred method, for example, older gamers, for example, that go business traveling to then game on the way, they'll pick it up. School kids take it around, play their main console game at school. I don't know, if you're not busy learning, it's a great idea. They can't take their consoles to school, they can't show their mates this crazy play, they can't go to school and then play like Splatoon, LAN, you know, or something like that. They can't do those things. This is what you've got to go for, this is what they hopefully are aiming for. Those gaps in time where people wouldn't be completely away from a traditional console, but it's a traditional console they can take with them. Everyone's heard this a million times from a million YouTubers, but if they hit that gap dead on, they shouldn't lose. They should succeed with this console. So that's my thoughts of it. And of course, to answer the question that always keeps being asked, even though I did answer in a video before, yes, I am doing The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. It's out there. Possibly even Bomberman is what I'm doing as well. Hey, I Am Setsuna now looks very interesting being a launch title. For now, of course, we've got our Let's Plays that are going. The Moogle Chocobo Festival begins. And apart from that, well, Last Guardian will be as soon as we sort out all our graphics. I'm just got to secure to make sure that I can get the console on release day, get all the stuff, and just get ready for a new era of Nintendo as well. So, hope you guys like my random musings, and I will see you around for more Let's Plays across the channel. Enjoy the Moogle Festival, and I'll see ya. Bye bye.